Exuent
No,
by C E Leggat.
don't be touching it.
Exterior day outside a village pub. The poster on the door features the three members of the troupe: Martha, 24, dressed in a black shirt and dog collar; Laura, 26, wearing the sort of clothes that an estate agent or an accountant would wear to the office; and David, 23, dressed in a badly matching jacket and trousers paired with a clip-on tie. The copy identifies the troupe's act as an improvised wedding. Interior night, back room of a pub. Several rows of chairs adorn most of the floor, but only 3 or 4 single spectators are there, sparsely spread out across the seats. Meanwhile, Martha, Laura, and David perform in front of the crowd. David and Laura play the marrying couple while Martha plays the vicar.
Now we shall tell all those gathered today about the groom's previous life. The groom, whose name we shall consult his mother about. Do we have a groom's mother in the audience somewhere?
An audience member puts his or her hand up.
Yes. John.
Osama.
And what did the groom do for a living? Groom's employer?
The same audience member puts his or her hand up.
Terrorist.
So I will hereby wed Osama the builder.
Boos erupt from the audience. What the hell are you doing? This is a comedy, not consequences.
To Emily the teacher.
More heckling. Give me your mic, give it here. She tries to grab Martha's lavalier mic, but Martha pushes her away. The booing continues, and one audience even throws a donut at Martha's head, which she ignores.
And the best man will tell us where they met. Do we have a best man?
A second audience member identifies himself as such.
Auschwitz concentration camp.
Osama the builder and Emily the teacher
More intense heckling ensues.
met at the cinema.
Martha is hit in the face by a pint of cola, the contents of the jug of cold custard and a bucket full of baked beans. Defeated, she stands there stunned and speechless. A few seconds later, a bucket full of custard, a bucket full of baked beans, and another bucket full of custard hit Martha before 2 audience members walk on stage carrying a bin full of baked beans and pour it over Martha's head, covering her from head to toe. You brought this on yourself. More people wanted to see Emily the wage slave meet John the wage slave at the sodding... Martha removes the cream bun from her face, puts it on top of Laura's head and smears it around Laura's hair. David laughs, but glares from both Martha and Laura silence him. Interior day, upstairs room in a local arts centre the following day. Martha, David and Laura all sit in glum silence. Martha eventually breaks the silence.
Come on. We've had our chance to grieve. Now we need to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves down and start doing something
Oh.
For the love of God, can't you listen to me for 5 minutes? 5 sodding minutes.
This is all your fault. You think you're still in the RSC, don't you? This is improv comedy, not King Lear.
I know that, but there has to be some limits. There could have been 9/11 survivors in there, or even a Holocaust survivor.
Or both.
Or both.
Sorry. Don't be stupid, David. Although in your case, that may be too much to ask.
Believe me, it could happen. I mean, there was a guy on the Titanic called Charles Lightoller who not only survived the sinking, but also fought off a Zeppelin attack during the First World War and went on to help with the Dunkirk evacuation as well. In fact, Christopher Nolan actually put a character based on him in his film.
Laura yawns loudly. We notice that she and Martha are both reading magazines.
About the evacuation, rather than unimaginatively entitled Dunkirk. One of Nolan's weakest films, if you ask me. You want to see a real masterpiece, you need to watch Memento. Not the most imaginative story in itself, but the storytelling is really original. Perhaps the most so from any filmmaker working today. Move over, Tarantino.
David, look me in the eye. Look at my face. Does it look like I care?
No, not least about your grammar.
Huh?
That last sentence wasn't correct English. You can't have 2 clauses in different cases in the same sentence.
What the fuck is he on about?
The first clause of your sentence, look at my face, is in the imperative, while the phrase, does it look like I care, is in the interrogative. You need a full stop, not a comma.
For all you know, I might have used a full stop.
That's certainly not the way it's written in the script.
In that case, it's not my fault if I use bad grammar. I was just following orders.
Oh, yeah. You know who else was just following orders?
Who?
Hitler.
Hitler gave the orders, you halfwit.
In his defence, that is also in the script. But for the love of God, we're shooting a movie, not some Jews.
Now, that was actually funny.
This is what I was on about earlier. If you had the balls to do that in front of an audience, we'd be somewhere now.
I am not in the mood for this tonight. I'm off. Let's think of a new scenario tomorrow.
The three sink deep in thought. There is total silence apart from the ticking of a clock. Suddenly, Laura has a brainwave. I've got an idea.
Cool.
Nah, it'd be too complicated. Groans of dismay from the other two. They return to the depths of their minds. Suddenly, David grins and starts to laugh uncontrollably. The girls appear hopeful.
I've got a really great idea. I love it.
He starts laughing again. Suddenly, he stops in his tracks.
Fuck.
What's up?
Copyright infringement. The three once... Oh.
No, I think that's action. The three once again rappel down the metaphorical ravines of their brains. Suddenly, they're interrupted by Martha's phone going off. She checks her phone and, recognizing the caller ID, announces,
I'm sorry, guys, but this is important. Excuse me for 5 minutes.
She leaves. The tracking shot follows her out into interior day corridor. A terrified young woman runs past Martha and from there down the staircase. This arouses Martha's curiosity. A few seconds later, an old man does the same. Martha leaves the frame to go downstairs. Immediately, a maintenance worker comes into frame and places a door out of use sign on the door, which Martha has just used. Martha checks her phone and reads its message in horror. She lets out a shriek of terror. She shoots off at rocket speed back the way she came. However, at the top of the stairs, she finds the sign. She tries to open the door anyway, but to no avail. She needs to take the lift. She shoots off down the stairs. Interior day, the lifts. Martha, visibly exhausted, runs into the lift lobby only to find a sign reading lift out of action. She needs to take the other stairs. Interior day, the other stairs. Martha runs up the stairs until she comes to the door she wants. She opens it only to find her way is blocked by a large object like a piano. Infuriated, she decides to try the door next up. It too is blocked. She tries the next door up only to find the same thing. She squints to read a sign on it. The sign tells her that all the doors until the 16th floor. I think that means they're blocked. She discovers that she needs a code to get in. She pushes a few buttons frantically. She needs to go down to the bottom and back up again through the apartment buildings. Exterior day, outside the entrance to the Phoenix apartments. Martha sprints down the road in torrential rain and up to the apartment door. She realizes that she needs a passcode, but does not know what it is. The rain intensifies and it starts raining down fish, several of which hit Martha. Martha tries multiple times to guess the passcode, but fails and slumps to the floor. On the pavement, she noticed a post-it note, which has fallen down from the keypad with the letters 1, 2, 3, 4 inscribed on it. She enters this passcode and enters the building. Interior day, the Midlands room at the Phoenix Arts Centre, Leicester. Oh, I know that. My sister used to. Laura reads a magazine while David talks to her, apparently oblivious to Laura's lack of interest.
It wasn't until 1848 that the July monarchy was overthrown and France's first ever presidential election took place, leading to the leadership of Napoleon III, who, like his more famous uncle, would seize power and rule as an emperor until his eventual downfall after the Franco-Prussian War in 1870.
Martha, exhausted, dishevelled, soaked to the skin and with a fish in her hair, bursts into the room.
Britain's just been attacked with nuclear missiles. We've got to get to safety in less than 3 minutes.
That's a really good idea. Why don't we pretend that we're convicts in prison, chained together, then it'll be more difficult for us to escape. Let's go into that corner there and start rehearsing.
No way, that corner's a jail. That one is more like a jail.
You don't understand.
Yeah, Laura, prison and jail aren't the same thing. Jail is where you'd be taken right after your arrest while awaiting trial, while prison is where you'd be sent if you were found guilty.
That's not the point.
Come on, let's get on with it. I have plans for this evening.
We need to find shelter now.
We haven't started rehearsing yet. We need an outline for the story before we do any kind of performance.
For the love of God, this isn't a hypothetical.
Yeah, right. And Elvis shot JFK so he couldn't fake the moon landings.
You know, there's a really great story about the moon landings. You see, during the 60s, there was this baseball player named Gaylord Perry who was such a bad hitter that his manager told a sports report.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up! Why would I say something like this as a joke?
You never know, it could have been written into the script.
Nora pulls out a copy of the Exuent script and starts flicking through it. Nope, nothing in here about being a trick. Nora and David look at each other in the eye.
Oh, shit.
Where can we actually go, though? Where will the poison not get us?
David, you're the smart one. You think of something.
Why don't we all think of something?
The three sink deep in thought. Suddenly, Laura has a brainwave. I've got an idea.
Hooray!
Oh, shit, it'll never work.
That's a bummer.
We're all going to die here.
Eureka!
What's up?
I have it. We're saved. Oh, crap. No, we're not.
Why not?
Copyright infringement.
They all sink into a crevice of despair.
Hold on a minute. Why don't we just have a look at the screenplay? That'll tell us how we get out of here.
Yes! Nora once more produces her copy of the script and excitedly flicks to it to the end, while others watch expectantly. Suddenly, her expression of glee turns into one of disgust. Oh, it says here we all die.
What?
That's completely fucked up.
I agree. I'm sick to my back teeth of this screenwriter. First the custard, then the beans, then the fish, and now this. I'm going on strike. I think we've called it a day there. That's page 10. Okay, guys. Thoughts? John, you were listening. What do you reckon for the most part?
Personally, I was getting kind of like Last Action Hero with Arnie. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but it's kind of a player wants to play. It's I don't know how to say this without being offensive, because I have by no means mean to offend, but it's not new. You know, it's not original. It's been done before. And I think it's been done before better as well. I found it funny. I did enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it, but it didn't grab me, didn't want me to read on.
Yeah.
And one little point, it just made this big thing about being grammatically correct and all that. Letters, numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4 are numbers, not letters. On the post-it note,
Yeah.
it says the letters 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I'm just an actor.
No, that's
your own points.
okay. Thank you. I was just reading what the writer had said about it. Emma.
Well, I put this. What is it? I mean, in terms of what's the form? Is it a short film? Is it part of something longer? I'm just not quite sure what it is. What format it's going to take. The usual things that we ask, like when and where is it set? I'm imagining this country because pub and Leicester and a few things like that. Some of the action is a bit unwieldy and hard to, for us to sort of make out what's happening. So, for example, the sort of clothes that an estate agent or an accountant would wear to the office rather than a suit or something. And then the thing with the stairs and Martha running around, I don't think I could quite picture always what was happening. I like the idea always of these things which are a bit sort of meta theatre, because I always hope that something interesting is going to happen with them. I don't know yet, if there's going to be more of this. I don't know if it's going to be sort of drafted more, because I've got a feeling that it's quite an early draft just because of some of the some of the sort of missing bits and pieces. It makes me think maybe it was written in some haste and hasn't been perhaps gone over, in the cold light of day. I could be wrong, but I would be interested perhaps to see what happened, if it were to be worked on, and just how is this script? I mean, they know from the word go that in real life they're scripted. You know, it'd be interesting if they didn't know and then they gradually became aware of it, perhaps. I just think, you know, maybe something can be done. I always like the idea, but I'm not quite sure it's coming through, as John said, at the moment, I'm afraid. What else have we got? You know, there's certain things like a big obstacle like a piano is blocking a doorway. And I mean, I think you're allowed to say what it is. You know, it can be, it makes it looser and vaguer for us if we don't know what it is you're thinking of, even if, you know, in the event it has to be changed, I think. But yeah, it's just slightly kind of like you can't make your own mind up. Where are we? Sorry, silly noise. You know, I'm beginning to think, is it a dream, you know, with the fish and things coming down? Are local arts centre and Phoenix Arts Centre the same place, or are they being, you know, sort of teleported about to different places, which might be interesting? You know, is it also what we talked about earlier before we started filming? Did you mean Exeunt, E-X-E-U-N-T, or did you mean a new word, which is Exuent? You know, maybe it's meant to be some sort of word that, you know, is quite newly minted for some reason, but I'm not quite sure what that would be. I'm curious. I've never heard that thing about sentences not being able to change, you know, to change their tense. So that's quite interesting. Why do their ideas never work? Is it because everything's written already? I don't know. I'm a bit muddy with it at the moment. I would like to see. I'd like to see this work and be surprising, and for some, you know, just as John says, obviously it's been done before, these things, but I would like to see something new done with it. I really would.
Thanks. Thank you for that. Stewart.
Okay, so oh gosh, I think like Emma, I was trying to kind of work out what the different sections were trying to do, because it appears like the pub scene, you know, sort of like a pub theatre upstairs scenario with the sort of audience shouting out ideas for kind of improv, but then it goes a bit surreal with the kind of cakes and beans or whatever it is that are being thrown, and I'm thinking, hang on, why is this happening? So is it kind of supposed to be slightly surreal and it going into some sort of surreal dream sequence a bit, and then you sort of come back to reality with them all sitting in a room the morning after? So yeah, that's again slightly confused about what it's trying to do and where it was off to. And then you get the stairs scenario where the woman's going up and down the stairs and trying to get in the door. Again, that was very confusing to me, and I kind of had to look back over that to try and work out what was going on. Why was she doing that? Initially, I thought she was trying to find a toilet or something. Rushing around trying to go to the loo, and then you kind of read back and you realize that this is the start of the nuclear attack that she's claiming is happening, and then is the fish in the hair kind of the nuclear fallout? Maybe I'm reading too much into that. You know, how the nuclear bomb sucks up the sea and it splatters it over some land or something. So there were lots of questions for me about what the hell's going on. I didn't find the characters very sympathetic, I have to say, and I kind of thought, well, who cares? You know what? I don't really care about them. So I'd like to see a bit more, you know, kind of, why do I care about these people? Why should I care about these people? And how does it relate to me? Because at the moment I'm finding it very hard to relate to, and an audience has to relate to characters and what they're going through, you know, to make good drama, in my view. But I think that was about all I had, really. But yeah, it kind of needs to decide what it's trying to do, in my view. So, all right.
Thank you. So I have a little more information insofar as the writer did tell me, which I maybe should have told you, but it's...
I was going to say, maybe we should have found that out
maybe
first.
It's quite good not to have told you, because you get your thoughts cold,
yeah, you get our gut reaction,
which is, I think, is useful. This was written for a BTEC course some years ago, he says. and it was, as far as I understand, performed or was read. I don't know, but on that basis, I don't know whether this writer is continuing with their writing career, as it were, or where they are with it now, if this was some years ago. But on the basis that this is all we've got to go on. So my thoughts were, my first thought was, why is there so much custard and beans? Just because I thought, where is this custard and beans coming from? I've sat in a lot of comedy store shows and there's never any custard or beans thrown, and there's actually never any food thrown. In actual fact, tomatoes, random chips, nothing.
This is actors' nightmares, though. I've had ones like
Well,
that.
yes.
Show you
Yes,
got,
you're right,
You don't
it
know the
is.
lines. You haven't got the costumes. You don't know what's going on.
You're
and
right,
there
it
are
is.
people that throw vegetables at you always.
So yeah, that just needs a little clarity. Although I quite like the surreal aspect of it.
I was just going to say, most of these comedy clubs where young comedians, people who are coming to the game of comedy, most of them you couldn't swing a cat in.
Yeah.
No, you can't. Not even a comedy store that I'm talking about in Piccadilly. It's very closed in.
Yeah.
But I thought the three characters, via their dialogue, were quite well defined. The Laura being the sort of disbelieving, down to earthish sort of person. Martha being much more wanting something to work, and and sort of.
I got her as the other character,
and David being the sort of pedantic one who's got to nail the history and everything just right. I did actually think that worked. I quite liked most of the dialogue. In actual fact, worked quite well. What I tripped up on was the typos, the grammar, and then the format and widows and orphans, where it just goes round to the next page, where you get a little bit of dialogue that carries on the next page and it's left hanging. I mean, that's a definite no-no. So if you are, as a writer, continuing your writing career, I hope by now you've sorted out your formatting and you know that sounds are always in caps, and that you don't really need to overwrite your action sequences as much as you have. You can almost, action sequences should read as they happen. So they need to be bullet points, really. This bam, bam, bam is happening, and that's how it should read on the page. I genuinely think that if there had been a nuclear warning or attack, I remembered something from my childhood, which was, we had a wonderful film in the 1960s, which is giving my age away, which was about the 3-minute warning. Where what you must do if you have the 3-minute warning, the things like cover yourself in newspaper and get under a table and various useless
narrated by the wonderful Patrick Troughton.
Yes, it was, and it was brilliant. It was in black and white, and I'm pretty sure that as it's a minute a page, they would be dead by
Yes.
and not able to decide what they're doing or whether it fits the script.
Also, Martha wouldn't keep so politely waiting for them to finish their sentences.
No, exactly. She'd be like grabbing hold of them and shoving them out. But
and if she's being rained on by fish from this nuclear explosion, they'd have already been wiped out.
Exactly. So that's it, really. I would like to see what else you have written since then, because it's nice to see people's progress. But thank you very much for letting us read it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.